Congratulations! You are now the proud owner of the world's finest cutlery, J.A. Henckles. To help ensure that you get the maximum enjoyment from your knives for a long time, this video will give you helpful hints and important information about the care and use of fine cutlery. When using the knife, the handle should fit your hand and feel comfortable. The uniform weight and balance of a quality knife are essential for precision and control in cutting. The knife blade should be flexible and always return to its original straightness. There are 6 knives basic to every well-equipped kitchen. Our set here, stored attractively in a specially designed wooden block, includes all 6. A 4-inch paring knife, 5.5-inch boning knife, 6-inch utility knife, 8-inch carver slicer, 8-inch chef's knife, 8-inch bread knife, and the 10-inch sharpening steel. Let's start with the paring knife. Even though the paring knife is the smallest knife, notice that Chef Reynolds shortens the length of the blade even more by gripping up onto the blade with his thumb and forefinger, while the remaining fingers and palm still maintain a firm hold on the handle. This allows maximum control of the tip as he cuts in a conical motion around the core of the delicate bib of the lettuce, using his thumb to steady his hand against the lettuce. This same technique is used when removing the core of a tomato, which should be done before peeling it. After coring, prepare the tomato by cutting an X at the blossom end. Then, to remove the skin from the tomato, blanch it in boiling water for approximately 45 seconds, or until the skin appears loose. You can now easily grab the skin by using the blade and your thumb as a pair of pliers to get a sturdy grip on the skin. Pull the skin from the flesh by flicking your wrist toward you, while the hand holding the tomato turns away from you. You should just see the blade of the knife through the skin. To peel an onion, take the tip of the knife and peel down the skin. The technique of using the side of the blade and your thumb together to accomplish a firm hold is repeated when peeling an onion. This guarantees that only the outer skin is discarded without losing any of the usable part of the onion. To devein cooked cocktail shrimp, make a precise shallow cut along the outside edge of the peeled shrimp. Then, using the same technique that was used for the tomato and onion, grab the vein between the thumb and the blade and lift it out. Before cutting a lemon-crowned garnish that you can serve with fish, veal, or melons, cut off the end of the lemon so you have a flat surface. This will allow your thumb to have a more secure and safe hold. Make a series of zigzag cuts by thrusting the paring knife into the center of the lemon. First, the blade is inserted at an angle to the left and then to the right. Continue making these cuts around the equator of the lemon until you reach where you started. Here is another example of the lemon crown. Slice the lemon in half. Again, the ends have been removed to allow a more stable grip as well as a flat surface against the cutting board. Repeat the same motion that was used on the shrimp, with the blade moving in a clockwise motion while the hand holding the lemon moves in a counterclockwise motion. Finish by pushing both sides toward the center. Carrot blossoms are an excellent addition to any crudité platter or salad. Start by cutting a peeled carrot to a size that fits your hand. Then cut it into a 2-sided point, then to a 4-sided point. Notice the grip that the chef maintains on the handle and how the placement of the thumb ensures control as he holds the carrot in his left hand. Watch as the chef guides the knife with a firm grip on the handle. His index finger is placed on the blade to position and hold the blade parallel to his thumb. The thumb pushes the carrot toward the blade and pressure is applied to the back of the blade with the index and middle fingers. This positioning allows the chef to cut thin slices on each side of the carrot within 1/8 of an inch of the bottom. Once all 4 cuts have been completed, twist the blossom from the carrot. The 5.5-inch boning knife should be used for separating cooked and uncooked meat from the bone. The smaller the size of the meat or bone, the more flexible the blade should be. To bone a chicken breast, cut off the wings, leaving the last joint attached. Then cut through the skin along the breastbone. Insert the knife along one side of the bone, pushing the meat away. Keep the blade against the carcass as you gently separate the flesh from the bone. Continue down along the ribs. The breast meat is now attached only at the wing joint. To remove the wing, cut a slit from the outside. And pop the bone from the socket in order to locate where you can now separate it with one cut of the boning knife. The tendon should be removed from the tenderloin. To remove a tendon, hold it between the thumb and forefinger and then scrape the blade along the tendon to release it from the meat. Be sure to clean your cutting board when handling different meats, especially chicken. Stuffed pork chops are delicious and easy to prepare. You will need double thick pork chops for stuffing. To make the pocket, insert the knife along the bone midway between each end. Pivot the knife left and then back to the center. Now take the knife out and insert it again, making the same cut in the opposite direction, leaving a hole for the stuffing. You can fill the chop by using a pastry bag or by hand. To fillet a trout, cut the head off at a 45-degree angle behind the collar toward the mouth. Cut along the backbone with a back and forth stroke of the knife, being careful not to cut into the backbone. Remove the belly bones by keeping the blade against the bones as you remove them all together. To remove the skin, slide the boning knife between the skin and the flesh and, with a firm grip on the skin, maintain a steady pull as you move the blade back and forth along the fillet. Turn the fish over and repeat with the other fillet. The blade of the 6-inch utility knife is flexible and can be used for peeling, slicing, chopping, and carving. It's particularly useful when preparing fruit. To peel a cantaloupe, simply cut off both ends of the melon, and then using a curving motion of the knife, shave off the skin. The control comes from the thumb and index finger, which are positioned on the blade while the wrist controls the curved motion. Now split the cantaloupe in half lengthwise and remove the seeds. Cut each half into uniform crescent-shaped slices. Peel grapefruit by cutting off the ends so you can see how thick the skin and underlying pit are. Cut from the top, making sure to take off the white pit while leaving the fruit below. A back and forth motion of the blade gives you more control as you follow the shape of the grapefruit. To section the grapefruit, insert the knife between the membrane of each segment, cutting as close to the membrane as possible and into the center of the fruit. While at the center, pull off the section and then move on to the next one. You'll find that the knife will hold the sections together. Because of the length and flexibility of the utility knife, it is ideal for peeling pineapples. Cut off both ends of the pineapple so you have a flat surface. You also will be able to see the thickness of the skin, which you can now peel down from top to bottom. To make pineapple chunks, cut the pineapple in half and slice it into wedges. Cut out the core and slice the wedges into bite-sized pieces, using the fingers of the hand holding the pineapple to guide the knife in cutting uniformly sliced pieces. For the dicing of the shallot, the chef has removed the peel with a paring knife, similar to what was done with the onion. Cut through a series of horizontal slices. Now, cut a series of vertical slices. Turn the shallot and slice perpendicular to the last cuts. Notice how the fingers of the hand holding the shallot are used to guide the direction of the blade and the spacing of the cuts. Hard-boiled eggs are delicate and require a thin blade for slicing. Pull the blade across the egg as you hold it firmly between your thumb and forefinger. The carving knife is designed to make long, sleek strokes. Any roasted meat should rest before carving. The most efficient way to carve turkey breast is to remove the breast meat before slicing it. First, take off the legs, wings, and thighs with the boning knife. Expose the wing joint by pulling the wing away from the carcass and cutting at the joint. Cut the skin to allow the leg and thigh to be pulled away. Keeping the knife against the carcass, cut along until you can disconnect the thigh bone from the socket. To remove the breast, cut along the middle of the breastbone with the boning knife, just cutting through the skin to expose the bone, using your index finger to guide the knife. Make one cut along each side to separate the halves. Now go back and cut along the carcass, keeping the blade against the bone, remembering not to cut into the breast meat, but pushing the meat away until the entire breast is released. Now, using the carving knife, cut a series of uniformly thick slices at about a 40-degree angle. Slicing the thigh and leg meat requires separating them at the joint. Remove the thigh bone by making a cut on each side. And then taking it out by hand. Slice it as you did the breast meat, cutting against the grain. This turkey leg is small and best served whole if you have a guest who's interested. Otherwise, slice the leg meat by holding the leg perpendicular to the board and making a series of vertical cuts until you reach the bone. The 8-inch chef's knife is used for chopping, slicing, and dicing, or when the job requires a heavy-duty knife. To slice, dice, or chop an onion, cut the onion in half, placing the flat side on the board. Make several perpendicular slices, keeping the tip of the knife on the board at all times to ensure control. Placing your hand on the top of the onion as a guide, keep sliding the knife through the onion. To dice the onion, place it flat side down on the board and make a series of horizontal cuts. Then make the vertical cuts. Then continue as if you were slicing the onion. Notice how the side of the blade rests against the middle section of the finger of the chef's left hand to guide the knife while the fingertips are safely tucked under. To chop an onion, keep the knife tip on the board and pivot right to left, regrouping and continuing again with the sliding motion. To loosen the peel from a garlic clove, place the side of the chef's knife on the clove and lightly wrap it. Slice and chop the garlic as you did with the onion. To make a paste, add salt and rub it into the garlic as an abrasive with the side of the knife. This is important when a smooth texture is required. To crack a lobster, cut off the legs and the claws with the full length of the knife. Use the back of the knife to release the claw meat. Slit the body of the lobster and the tail down the middle, using the entire knife length. When you chop parsley, start with a slicing motion. Then regroup the cut pieces with your left hand and continue cutting. One effective way to control the knife while chopping is to keep the tip on the board as you slide the knife at different angles until the parsley is chopped as desired. When cutting through the thick skin of a pineapple, position your left hand over the knife for stability and using the entire blade, cut through the root end to the top of the fruit. An interesting way to serve the pineapple is to slice the pineapple into wedges. And then using the paring knife, cut along the bottom edge and along the core, being sure to leave it intact. Next, slice the fruit beginning below the core. To finish the wedge, push the chunks in opposite directions. The 8-inch bread knife is used for cutting bread or any other soft food that has a tough skin or crust. Slicing Italian bread in half for sandwiches or in rounds is simple with a bread knife, since the serrated blade cuts through the crust without crushing the bread. Again, notice the importance that the hand holding the food plays in guiding the blade. To cut a 2-inch cake crosswise, mark an outline around the center of the cake with the knife. Turn the cake slowly as you continue cutting deeper into the cake. Repeat this step until you've cut all the way through. A good knife may last you a lifetime, but knives don't stay sharp forever. Honing your knives after each use will take the burrs off the knife edge, ensuring a safer, sharper knife. The most popular way to hone knives is with the 10-inch steel sharpener. You may point the steel up or down, depending on which way makes you feel most comfortable. To hone a knife, place the heel of the blade toward the tip of the butcher's steel. The angle between the blade and the steel should be approximately 20 degrees. Pull the knife down and across the butcher's steel, making a slight arc. Repeat on the other side. A few strokes on either side of the blade every time you use the knife will keep it sharp. And don't worry about the speed. The 20-degree angle and honing the full length of the cutting edge are the keys to a sharp knife. Over time, you may find the butcher steel no longer restores the honing edge. When this happens, get your knives professionally sharpened. Your local butcher can tell you where. The melon whale is an interesting centerpiece. To begin, draw the fish design on the melon, making sure to include a mouth, tail, and dorsal fin. Use the tip of the paring knife to cut the inside part of the lips, cutting through the width of the rind. Now, outline the outside of the lips, gripping up on the blade for maximum control. Now, using the outline as a rough guide, cut out the rest of the fish. To add texture, scrape off some of the melon skin on the tail. Now switch to the utility knife. And starting 4 to 6 inches from the top of the mouth, shave down about half the thickness of the rind to the lips so that the lips protrude. Scrape the rest of the fish for texture. Remove the sections with the utility knife, taking them out in 2 or 3 sections. Now take out the chunks of watermelon with the utility knife and cut them into pieces that will be used later for making a filling. Fasten grapes as eyes with toothpicks. Now, enjoy your Henckles knife collection as the proud owner of the world's finest cutlery.